world post-COVID, our life has been significantly affected. Almost every aspect of our life is touched directly or indirectly by COVID. Starting with our education, most of it has been happening online, and we are wondering for the time when our schools, colleges, and academic institutes are finally reopened. We are waiting for the time when the vaccination for the kids of all ages, shall be made available. Our offices are not the same. There is work from home, work from anywhere, workations, and there are various hybrid models being explored by different businesses worldwide. Some have failed, some have kind of found a formula to succeed for the time being. Our international travel has been badly affected. There have been different protocols by various countries in terms of accepting travelers from other countries. Though there have been some relaxations on and off, with the new wave coming, it seems the pause button would again be pressed and travel won't be feasible. Our international trade and the businesses which completely rely on international travel would again be impacted. In a broader sense, almost every aspect, people of every age group, regardless of their age and stage in their life and career, are affected, and we're itching to go back to normal mode. Our revenge vacations, our revenge shoppings are an indication of how badly we are stuck in this. But the questions are we seeking certainty for the first time? Was our life completely in control before COVID happened? Were we in complete control of everything we were doing in the pre-COVID era? And the answer is no for all of us. Life has always been uncertain, whether it's a new job, a new city, day-to-day traffic, our marriages, our careers, a loss of loved one, loss of a dream. There has always been twists in the plot. It's just that we are now facing a global crisis. We are collectively into it, and it has continued for a good amount of time for us to reflect and learn. Now the next question is, how do we behave in the face of uncertainty? Our default mode is to look for certainty anywhere and everywhere, regardless of how do we get that. When we are faced by uncertainty and we are not in control of the situation, our mind tends to actually fabricate the certainty on its own. By our very nature, we tend to interpret situation in a way to put a sense of control around chaos and uncertainty. You would remember a lot of people making casual statements during first wave of COVID that it is a normal flu and things would be fine very soon. That's a classic example of our mind underestimating the threat and oversimplifying the information for us to give an impression that we are in control of the situation. And at times, in order to get the certainty, we demand certainty from others. We demand and expect certainty from our bankers, our doctors, even our politicians. And what they offer in turn is illusion of certainty. We either get comfortable with that or we move on to another option. But they can't deliver something which does not exist. Many of us in this pursuit stand in queues in front of astrologers and fortune tellers in order to have more visibility. Though some of us smile and crack jokes on them, but technology has changed the way we looked at things in the past. Technology has unfortunately amplified the illusion, because when the same astrologers use the algorithms and fancy softwares in order to predict what they have to, we tend to behave differently. We tend to trust on their predictions even more. And the most amazing thing about our collective amnesia is that we keep following stock market predictions, even if they have been wrong time and again. And even the crisis like COVID could teach us on how to accept the uncertainty. And we are still actively chasing it, and there seems to be a race of being more secure than others. Why? Now the question is, why do we crave certainty? Our craving for certainty comes from our vulnerability, and because of having a brain which tells us that certainty is always within our reach, and the society which tells us that going after control makes us happier. But our chase for certainty gets dangerous when we fail to differentiate between the real certainty and the illusion of it. Talking about illusion of control, it's a state wherein we tend to think that we have got more control on the situation than we actually have. Even if any event or any incident happens randomly, we tend to believe that we can influence the outcome. You would know some people in your network who would wear a particular color or a particular attire because that's lucky for them, and they think that it can influence the outcome in their favor on a particular day. You would surely know some people in your network who would sit in a particular room, in a particular position while watching a particular game, and they would believe that they can influence the outcome, and this act of theirs can make their favorite team win the game. Though these instances seem harmless, but the threat is far more deeper and dangerous than this. Because when we tend to believe and we are under illusion of control, that we have got more control on any event than we actually have, we tend to make bad decisions, and we make very bad decisions at times. We tend to lose control on the controllables, and this can contribute in many damaging behaviors. The most appropriate example here is the addiction of gambling, wherein a player or a bunch of players keep investing, keep betting huge amount of money on a game despite having lost huge amount of money already. And they're able to do so because they somehow feel that they possess some extraordinary skills which will make them win eventually. Regardless of, and they completely ignore the aspect of probability, and regardless of any skill required in that particular game. For example, buying a lottery ticket, for most of us, won't need any particular skill, but that's what illusion of control does to us. There have been a lot of studies around it, and the researchers have found out that for most of the people, their confidence in the probability of winning or probability of influencing the outcome comes from their beliefs, and it has hardly any connection with the real skill and knowledge required in that particular domain. The basic reason why illusion of control happens, though there are many reasons, but the biggest reason which triggers illusion of control is our need to be in control. We as human beings always want to be in control of the situation. And this is the reason why our brain, which is so sophisticated, and that in order to help us create those illusions so that we can feel we are in control. Though the underlying reasons for this are deep-rooted beliefs and our fears. Now the next question is, how do we manage this situation? What is the solution for this? Some of us would like to believe that the education is the answer for this. But when I refer to education, I'm actually talking about formal education. Our formal education is not structured in a way to teach us about our fears, our superstitions, our beliefs, and that is the reason we have so many educated people and they hold great positions, but they are still fearful. They would wear a lot of rings in almost every finger of theirs. They would do such things to be in control despite having so much education. So education is not the answer, certainly. Is too much information the answer? We live in information age at this point of time, and we can have access to anything or everything on our smartphones with a click of button. We can access to any information worldwide with a drop of a hat. But if information was the answer, we would have been the most happiest generation ever lived on this planet. And the people who follow news most of the time, and they keep themselves updated about any event happening on this earth, they would have been at the epitome of happiness. So the information is also not the answer. A lot of us would believe that success is answer for this, but success actually amplifies our fears. Success actually amplifies our superstitions and beliefs. Imagine a player who keeps a particular color of handkerchief in his pocket all the time, and a batsman who wears a pad on his right or left leg first all through his career. And if he is successful, then his fear would only grow with every success and every achievement he gets. And he would never challenge it, because he would believe that whatever success he has got is a result of everything he has been doing directly or indirectly. In fact, when we are fearful and you become successful, you become even more fearful rather than becoming fearless. So success is definitely not the answer. Now what the answer is, the solution to me lies in right understanding of life. Right understanding and the scientific way to look at life, wherein you can see situation as it is. Imagine a scenario wherein a cat is pouncing upon a mouse and the cat fails to grab it. Cat is not going to feel herself as a failure, and she is definitely not in any kind of conflict going forward that what she would be doing when there is again an encounter with the mouse. And almost all the animals behave in the similar fashion. But do they understand life better than us? No, because they don't have to understand it. Their brain is not sophisticated enough for them to present fears, anxiety, and their brain does not project future scenarios for them to get worried about those. In this situation, our complex brain and the sophisticated brain seems to be a reason. But the complexity and the magnanimity of the brain is to be used to understand life. We need to understand life, we need to understand events of life, we need to understand basis of our fears, and there lies the real solution. We need to see that life is always uncertain. Anything can happen at any point of time. We don't know what will happen in future, we don't know what can happen in next 5 minutes. And that's the key. But in order to, whatever happens in life, there is a reason for that, and there is a cause and effect for everything. Understanding cause and effect is very simple, and that's the reason we don't see it. With our complex brain, we don't want to understand and see something which is that simple. But the result lies in complete understanding, the solution lies there. We need to see that life is always uncertain. But if you don't understand it fully, it will become one of belief. And we already have so many beliefs. And the new belief cannot counter the existing belief at all. We need to keep dreaming, we need to keep trying, we need to keep planning. But a twist in the plot should not leave you heartbroken, because that is very nature of life. You need to relax, not because everything is under control. You need to relax because you are not in control and you would never be. Thank you very much.